There are three types of drills: skill-biased, open, and closed. A skill-biased drill focuses on one main aspect of the sport. For example, in soccer, if you are practicing shooting, that would be a skill-biased drill because you're only focusing on that one main area.
An open skill drill is about the environment constantly undergoing changes so that the player's movement adapts to this change.
We'll actually simulate an in-game scenario. So, give me a second, just step out of the way please. Just over there. So, you're going to start with the ball, you're going to kick it over to Aaron, okay? Now Aaron, we're going to be over here, we're going to receive the ball, and you're going to try and get it down to shoot it into those goals on the other side of the field. Meanwhile, you're going to try and defend Aaron defend the goals to stop Aaron from getting the ball in the goals. Okay? So, what do we think we did well there? You missed the goal there. Why do you think it happened?
Because I was under pressure maybe?
Yep. Maybe I think when you were trying to sidestep Ben and you kicked the ball to the right side of him, or to the left side of him, on your right side, sorry. I think you kicked it a bit too hard and it went off a bit too much and you were chasing after that ball for a little bit too long and then you're too far away from the goals to make a shoot.
Yeah.
You agree? Yeah. Ben, you have any input?
Well, I like to evaluate that I should have gone more forward and tackled Aaron.
Yeah, but I understand what you mean. Just keeping the pressure on him, making sure that you stay with him. Because as soon as he kind of sidestepped it, you kind of just let it happen. You just kind of stood there and didn't do much. So just make sure that you're keeping the pressure on, you're staying on the player.
Yep.
In this example, Jackson was an autocratic coach. An autocratic coach doesn't allow for any player input and has absolute power. A democratic coach allows for player input and doesn't hold absolute authority over the players. A laissez-faire coach allows the players to take their own course without interfering.
As the ball is kicked in soccer, or any other sport for that matter, there are multiple forces acting upon it. These forces mainly include the applied force of the kick, the force of gravity from the earth, and the force of friction as the ball rolls across the ground. The reason the ball travels forward is because the forces are unbalanced, as seen in the diagram. The force of the kick is much greater than the force of friction, so the ball will travel forwards from the point of contact. However, the force of the kick only lasts a fraction of a second, and the force of friction is applied over time, so the ball will eventually slow down to a stop. It is important to mention that all forces mentioned in this video are from our frame of reference.
Newton's first law states that an object in motion will stay in motion at a constant velocity in a straight line unless acted upon by an unbalanced force. This is known as inertia and is relevant to sport because what direction you kick the ball and how fast you can kick the ball is what determines the game. Inertia is important to soccer because in soccer you need to be able to perform skills and tricks such as shooting and passing the ball in order to score goals to win the game.
Newton's second law states that the acceleration of an object is directly proportional to an amount of force being acted upon the object. This is relevant to soccer because the more mass that a soccer ball has, the more force that will be required in order for the ball to accelerate. Acceleration is important to sport because in sport you need a ball that's not too heavy or too light, that it can't be used for any practical purposes in the game itself. This includes soccer.
Newton's third law states that for every action there is both an opposite and equal reaction. This is relevant to soccer because how hard you can kick the ball determines how far the ball will travel. This happens because when the forces of the player's foot and ball collide, they become together to produce the equal and opposite force. The equal and opposite force is important to sport because it determines how far the ball will travel and its traveling speed.
Newton's laws are also in play in everyday life. As we can see in this photo, Newton's third law is in play. As the man pushes against the wall, The wall pushes back with equal force but with opposite direction against the man. Biomechanics is the study of how and why our body moves the way it does. This relates to sport as we need to be able to move our body efficiently and correctly to win the game. A coach needs to understand biomechanics to be able to make sure his or her players are moving as effectively as possible and to ensure the players are best utilizing their understanding of biomechanics to ensure a powerful kick as seen in the diagram.